Welcome to Odd Earth's Best Of series. I'm John Norwood. Let's take a look at the best horror movies of 1988. I'll discuss the top 10 in no particular order, then let you know the best of breed. They Live. A drifter, expertly portrayed by rowdy Roddy Piper, stumbles across the reason the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Reaganomics. No, it's an alien conspiracy and their subliminal messages that cause the masses to sleepwalk through their life and give in to the consumerism that was America in the 1980s. And today, using special sunglasses that allow him to see the aliens for who they are, Piper punches his way through the conspiracy and, presumably, reveals the aliens to the world. Featuring one of the most scathing satires of America in general, but more specifically Ronald Reagan's America, They Live is a classic Carpenter film and easily one of his best works. The film is also known for perhaps the greatest fight scene ever filmed. Killer clowns from outer space. Aliens who look like clowns come from outer space and terrorize a small town. This is a low-budget cult classic and looks like a real stinker, but it isn't. Two lovers see what they think is a meteorite fall out of the sky, and as star-crossed teenage lovers do, they stop messing around and checked it out. What they find is a circus tent full of aliens that look like clowns that eat people. They keep their victims fresh by wrapping them in cotton candy cocoons in order to eat them later. The movie's fantastic and is so beloved in the cult crowds, a sequel has been in the works for over a decade. Who wouldn't want to fund this? Check out the very young Christopher Titus in a minor role. The Lair of the White Worm. Ken Russell takes us on a journey into crazy sexapades as he tends to do in his adaptation of Bram Stoker's final work. An archaeologist discovers a skull in a ruined convent and ties it to the worship of a dragon and a giant white worm. Hilarity ensues as a beautiful naked vampire played by Amanda Donahoe lures victims to the white worm, presumably in its lair. Everything in this movie is a penis metaphor, which is probably more of a product of Ken Russell than Bram Stoker. Hugh Grant stumbles around the film in one of his early performances and does what he can with the script. Notably, the cinematography is fantastic and the sets still hold up. The vampire is menacing and well done, and the atmosphere manages to hold Russell's insanity together. Hellbound, Hellraiser II. Kirsty and Julia are back for another round with the Cenobites. Hellraiser II opens with Kirsty in a mental hospital trying to recover from the crazy shit that happened in the first movie. She doesn't. The incredibly creepy Dr. Chenard is a little too handsy with the women, but it turns out he's not a sexual predator, he's just crazy. Claire Higgins returns as Julia, sans skin, and introduces the Doctor to the world of the Cenobites, including the realm that's ruled by the being Leviathan. This Lovecraftian horror story is incredibly well done on all fronts. The detail of the world and the characters in it elevates this to more than just another gross-out Clive Barker piece. In my opinion, Hellraiser 2 is superior to the first movie, and I'm prepared to take the thrashing that's gonna give me. Pumpkinhead. A bunch of teenage ding-dongs mess around in a dusty little town inhabited mainly by Lance Henriksen's Ed Harley and a horrible witch named Haggis. They accidentally kill Ed's son and the shit hits the fan. Harley wants revenge and Haggis is happy to help out, but there's a catch. She's gonna summon a demon named Pumpkinhead that will rise out of a conveniently placed pumpkin patch, and he will take care of business. One blood ritual later and Pumpkinhead is ready for action. This is the directorial debut of the great special effects master Stan Winston, and it's no surprise the creature effects are first rate. The story drags a bit, but the monster is awesome and Lance Henriksen never disappoints. The Serpent and the Rainbow. Ever wanted to visit Haiti and check out the black magic rituals in the Hard Rock Cafe? Bill Pullman did in this awesome film from the great Wes Craven. Attempting to investigate the zombie situation in Haiti to report back to a pharmaceutical firm, Pullman's Dennis Allen gets caught up in political intrigue that leads him down a spiraling path of voodoo craziness. Although Craven is best known for A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Serpent and the Rainbow may be the high watermark in his enviable career. Well paced with a solid script, this movie delivers the scares as well as a story that really pulls the viewer in. This is a great film. Phantasm II. Mike, now played by James LaGrosse, is released from a psychiatric hospital and continues his eternal hunt for the tall man in order to stop him from his increasingly vague and ill-defined work. Angus Scrimm's tall man is now taking out entire towns to grow his army of diminutive minions. Can Michael and Reggie defeat him with nothing more than homemade explosives and a 4-barrel shotgun? This follow-up to the classic 1979 film Phantasm stands on its own, and the increased budget from the original movie shows. There was some backlash that came from replacing A. Michael Baldwin in the lead role, but LaGrasse did a great job, and the movie is a formidable successor to the horror classic, Night of the Demons. Angela's having a party, so strap in for a gross-out, hideous ride. As one would expect, several teenagers decide to party at an abandoned funeral parlor on Halloween night. From this premise, one would expect nothing happened and the young folks got home just fine. Not true! They awakened demonic spirits and all heck broke loose. This little treasure was actually a box office success, earning 3 times its budget back with only a limited release. It's no surprise that it spawned 2 sequels of dubious quality and a remake in 2009. The spirit of the original was never quite recaptured, but the original itself still holds up. Check out Night of the Demons, Cellar Dweller. Featuring Yvonne DiCarlo of Munsters fame and the always great Jeffrey Combs in a bit role, this movie is original and well crafted for the most part. In the 50s, a horror comic artist dabbles in the occult to help add texture to his work. In a surprise twist, that goes horribly wrong and his artwork comes alive and begins discussing the importance of rural America when it comes to winning elections. Not true! His art comes alive and then he kills himself for some reason. Years later, a group of art students move in and, upon finding an unfinished comic book, attempt to complete the work. And then nothing bad happens. Not true, the monsters kill folks. Anything with Jeffrey Combs gets a look, even if it's a small role, and although that's why I originally watched the film, it stands on its own. The effects work is standard low-budget 80s, but the creatures look great, and the story is original. The kids pull this one off. Waxwork. One of the marketing taglines for this gem was, "More fun than a barrel of mummies," so you know it's going to be good. The never creepy David Warner runs a wax museum, which are never creepy, in order to unleash evil into the world in the form of wax monsters. Although there are several evil exhibits, Miles O'Keefe's Count Dracula and John Rhys Davies' Werewolf are the standouts. Dracula and his harem are very well done, as is the guy whose leg is being slowly eaten by rats. The werewolf transformation scene is quite well done. While not on par with Werewolf in London or The Howling, it's shocking and the creature itself holds up. This film is a pleasant surprise, and despite the hokey animation and some of the special effects, it has a great look. Zach Galligan of Gremlins fame holds the line, and the beautiful Michelle Johnson does not disappoint. You remember her from the Blame It on Rio movie poster every teenage boy had in the late 80s. The movie was successful enough to spawn a sequel, Waxwork II, Lost in Time. The sequel failed to capture the spirit of the first film, but the first Waxwork is a great film and needs to be seen. And the best horror movie of 1988 is Pumpkinhead. Stan Winston creates a frightening and visceral demon in this classic horror tale. If you disagree, say so in the comments below. If your argument is convincing, you may get into the next Best Of episode. That's it for Odd Earth's best horror movies of 1988. If you like what you saw, please subscribe. We also have several playlists for you to check out, including the Pros vs. Goners original series. Take a look.